Today, we're diving into something that's happening all around you right this second, but you can't even see it. And it just might be the single most important chemical reaction on Earth. It's literally the reason we're all here. All right, let's kick things off with a question. A puzzle, really, that had scientists scratching their heads for centuries. Think about a giant tree. I mean, a massive one, weighing thousands of pounds. Where does all that stuff, all that mass, actually come from? Does it suck it all up from the soil? Is it from the water? Or is it something else? Just hang on to that question for a minute.
See, at the end of the day, every single living thing, from a tiny microbe to a blue whale, faces the exact same problem. It needs energy. It needs fuel just to stay alive. Now, for animals like us, the solution is pretty simple, right? We get hungry, we move, we find food, we eat it, done. But what about plants? They're kind of stuck in one spot. They can't just get up and grab a burger. So what's their big idea? How did they solve this fundamental problem of life?
Well, this is where it gets really cool. Plants came up with a totally revolutionary solution. They don't find their food, they make it. And they do it using the biggest, most reliable energy source out there, the sun. It's like nature's very first and most successful solar power technology. And we have a name for this incredible process, of course: photosynthesis. It's this amazing trick that plants, algae, and even some bacteria use to grab raw energy from light and convert it into chemical energy. Basically, a food they can actually use and store. Yeah, you heard that right. They literally figured out how to eat sunlight. So, okay, how does this actually work? Let's treat it like a recipe. The most important recipe in the universe, maybe. What are the ingredients the plant needs to pull this off? And what exactly does it cook up at the end? All right, first up, the ingredients, and you'll be surprised at how simple they are. The plant just grabs them from its immediate surroundings. Okay, so ingredient number 1, sunlight. That's the energy source. Number 2, carbon dioxide. Yep, the same stuff we breathe out, it just pulls it right out of the air. And number 3, water, which it sucks up from the ground through its roots. And that's it. Seriously, sunlight, CO2, and water. That's the entire shopping list. So what does the plant actually create with just those 3 simple things? It makes 2 things, and both are absolutely critical. First is glucose. Think of it as a simple sugar, a power bar for the plant that fuels its growth. It can also save it for later as starch. The second thing it makes is oxygen, and this is the mind-blowing part. For the plant, oxygen is just trash. It's a waste product that it just releases into the air. Wild, right? Okay, this all sounds like a neat story, but how do we know it's actually real? I mean, it's an invisible process happening inside a tiny leaf. Well, science has some really clever ways to prove it, to make the invisible visible. The trick is to look for the evidence, right? We need to test for the products. We know plants store their food as starch, so if we can find starch in a leaf that's been in the sun, that's our proof. There's a classic experiment for this called the starch test. Here's how it works. First, you boil a leaf in water to break down its cell walls. Then you boil it again, but this time in ethanol, to get rid of all that green stuff, the chlorophyll, which would just get in the way of seeing the result. After a quick rinse, you add a few drops of iodine. And boom! This is the magic moment. If there's starch in that leaf, the iodine turns it this deep, dark, blue-black color. That color change is the smoking gun. It's the proof we were looking for. The plant was making food.
All right, so we've got proof of the food. Check. But what about that other thing, that waste product, oxygen? Can we prove that plants are actually pumping that out too?
You bet we can. There's another great experiment for this one. You take a plant that lives in water, something like pondweed, and you put it under a funnel in a beaker of water. Then you stick a test tube over the top to catch any gas that bubbles up while it's sitting in the sunlight. Okay, now for the grand finale. You take a little wooden stick, a splint, light it, and then blow it out so it's just glowing red at the tip. Then you take that test tube full of gas and you put the glowing splint inside. And whoosh! It bursts back into flame. That little explosion is undeniable proof. That reaction only happens when there's a lot of oxygen around. So there you have it. We've proven it's real. But let's zoom out for a second. This tiny chemical reaction, happening quietly inside a leaf, has consequences that are, well, planetary. This isn't just some fun fact about plants. This is about why you and I can even exist. I mean, it's almost impossible to overstate this. Photosynthesis is step one, the very bottom of pretty much every food chain on the planet. And that waste gas, oxygen, it's only the stuff that created the very air we breathe. It's what allowed complex life, animals, us, to evolve in the first place, so we could use that oxygen to get energy from our own food.
And that brings us all the way back to our first question. That giant tree, weighing thousands of pounds, where does it come from? The answer is incredible. It's not the soil. It's not the water. It's built almost entirely out of thin air. It's made from carbon dioxide, pulled from the atmosphere, and stitched together using the power of sunlight.
Think about that. Plants figured out perfect, clean, solar power millions and millions of years ago. They learned how to eat light. So as we think about our own energy needs and our future on this planet, maybe the biggest question is, what else can we learn from them?